Welcome back to the Breaking Ice podcast. My name is Josh Ferguson. Taylor's laughing at me right now because it's the third time we started the podcast. But anyways,
Third time's a charm, I guess.
I managed to convince this guy to come and sit down with me, and I'm pumped. So it's gonna be fun.
Is the microphone on?
The microphone's on this time. So, you're working construction in Ontario. How old were you? Done school, right?
Yeah, I was done college. I was
Yeah.
done my second year of college, so I guess it was 19, 20.
Okay,
around
gotcha.
there. I think I moved up here when I was 21.
Okay. Building industrial farms. Correct?
Yeah, like industrial. Yeah, barns, I guess.
Were they the kind of barns that they roll with the chickens, you know? Have you seen those?
Not that fancy. No. No, they're like the big storage shed that people put like combines and stuff in.
Yeah, and then
Right.
forget about them. Perfect.
Yeah, for the winter. Forget about it for the winter. Until they need it again in the fall, and they're like, oh, better go check that
Dust
out.
that off.
Yeah. Yeah, I took a layoff from that job for the winter because it's obviously not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like running tin and
Yeah.
throwing rafters and stuff.
Asking to get hurt.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And after school, at the time, to come out of aviation college, like to be an aircraft mechanic, it was everybody, like resumes everywhere. And it wasn't necessarily you were ever going to get a job.
Was it flush in the industry? Like there was tons of people working already?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity
Sure.
to start out. There always kind of was if you picked the right spot, and I feel like that's kind of what happened here.
Yeah.
But for the most part, anytime you applied anywhere, they're like, oh, we just filled that position.
Mm.
So unless you were on it like right after Christmas, you weren't going to have a job when you come out of school.
Mm.
So I went working construction. So I was doing that, and I took the layoff for the winter, and I was actually just kind of hanging out around the house, like at my mom and dad's, because I had to move out of my apartment and everything.
From school?
From school, and then I had another apartment
Gotcha.
afterwards when I was working construction. So I had to move back into mom and dad's, and after you're done high school, you get moved out, you're living in college and everything.
It's not a good feeling.
Yeah, you don't want any part of that. So that was the first thing I did was throw resumes out like all over the place.
Yeah.
And North-Wright happened to be one of them. And it was kind of funny. It was a different time. Like I just got a phone call from some random guy. Like I was sitting in the basement playing N64, doing my thing. Get a phone call.
What game? Conquer
It
Bad
was
for a Day?
Zelda.
Oh.
Legend of Zelda. I ended up beating it before I came up. That was like top priority.
It's a must.
Well, it was like a couple more days of
Sure.
playing N64. And then I was like, okay, now I got to get ready. Do it.
Throw my tools in a box.
But I remember I paused the game to take the phone call and basically offered me the job on the spot. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, I'd be there in 2 weeks, I guess, as soon as I figure out how to get there kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I hung up the phone, I was like, oh, cool. Unpaused, kept playing for a minute. And I was sitting there thinking in the back of my head, like, what did I just commit to? Like, what am I doing with my life? I had to repause the game. And, I pulled out the laptop and had to Google where Norman Wells was. I put so many resumes out. I had
So
no
you
idea.
basically just totally were like, yeah, sure, I'll be there.
Well, it was.
No,
I went on Av Canada. Any place that was looking for an apprentice, resume went out.
Yeah.
And they were the first ones to call back, and they called back with a, hey, when can you start? And I was like, yeah, I'll be there in 2 weeks.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think it fared out pretty well.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Totally. What was the feeling like when you realized how far away the job was?
It was... It's kind of I wasn't planning on going so far away, but sometimes you have to travel where the job was, right?
Sure.
As the feeling kind of set in of how far north I was going, it just kind of mustard and kind of sat in your gut, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. This is terrifying. Once you start reading up on it and what the temperature is like year round, and the darkness all winter, and bright all summer. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to handle that. And really, like, I was sitting there talking to my mom, and she was like, terrified. She didn't want me to come either, right? She's just like, what are you doing to yourself? Like, how's this gonna fare out?
You're like, it's in my field.
Yeah, I was like, it's a job. Like, at least I'm not sitting on your couch playing video games anymore, right? And yeah, so I came up, and first thing, like, I went from, like, I've seen minus 30 in Ontario, but I came up here minus 30. It was a different minus 30, 100%.
Colder or?
So much colder.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. But now that I'm used to it up here, if I go down south and it's like minus 20, I'm like, this is terrible. Like,
down there is so much colder, I think.
Yeah.
I think the wet cold is so much colder.
Well, the humidity is what kills it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, God.
I was trying to explain it when I'm down south. It's like your skin's cold up here, so
yeah,
you know, cover your skin.
Bones aren't cold.
Yeah, when you go then you go down south and like you're cold on the inside.
Yeah,
like you're like I can feel my fingers, but like
your skin,
my insides.
Your skin isn't cold up here. Your skin's in pain, but your bones are warm.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of 50-50 toss up on that one.
Sick. Okay, so why aircraft mechanic? Like what was the logic there? I feel like everyone here is like, oh yeah, normal thing to do. Not normal. Totally not a normal thing to do.
No, it's not.
I'll fix planes. Such a logical choice.
Well, growing up, I learned how to ride a bike in the summer, and
nice.
that
It's a good start.
That winter for Christmas, I got a dirt bike.
Oh wow, okay.
So like I was born into riding dirt bikes and quads, and I learned how to drive trucks.
Did you grow up with some property there, or is it like just suburbs?
It was like farmer fields for miles, like dirt road. Nobody ever went down it. Perfect. It was more common to see a tractor go down the road than a car or a truck.
Spot for a dirt bike.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
What puts you in trouble too, but stay away from that.
The right kind of trouble.
Yeah, the fun trouble. Yeah. Yeah, but ever since like I broke my dirt bike for the first time, my dad was like, "Okay, I'll show you how to fix it this time." And then ever since then, it was, you know, what do you think is wrong with it? How do you think it needs to be fixed? So I was kind of bred into it, like, you know, fix it yourself.
What did he do? Was he a mechanic too?
He was an automotive mechanic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, he worked for my grandfather. He lived a mile down the street from actually where he grew up. Okay,
where your dad grew up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he just ended up buying a farmhouse like a mile down the road, and that's where
sick.
he raised all of us, right? Which, thinking back on it now, like, you know, Dad grew up, got a life of his own, like his own family and everything, ended up a mile down the street from his parents.
Yeah, it's wild.
And here I am on the other side of the country.
I feel the same as you. Like I have like this admiration for people who can do that.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like I don't really understand it because my life has been so far from my family. You know.
Yeah. Well, you grew up in
Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Well, I was born in Toronto. I lived there for 9 years, and then we moved to central Mexico.
Yeah, you moved back for a while or something?
Then I came back for school, so I was 19 when I came back. Are we the same age? How old are you?
31, 32 this year.
Yeah, okay, we're pretty same age. So when you were moving up here, I was moving back to Canada, 2011, 2012?
I moved up here in 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was in school, but around that kind of time period.
Yeah, you were in, where'd you go to school?
In Thunder Bay. I was studying outdoor rec, parks, and tourism. So I was like total canoe guide, you know, path. Yeah. That tracks, right?
Yeah, I know the type. There was, funny enough, when I went to college, one of my roommates, he was in rec and leisure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't called rec and leisure, you know? Like,
at least they put a good name to it.
It was at parks and tourism, at least sounds a little bit more legitimate.
Well, it sounds like you're going into a field of some sort. Rec and leisure.
It's like, what do you play, golf?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
What do you do, plan leisure activities? Like, enough, he never went to class. He was too lazy to go to class. I could always count on him being there when I got home from school.
Is we roommates?
As roommates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was 4 of us that lived in the one apartment, and 3 of us were going to aircraft mechanic school, and he was in rec and leisure.
I lived with a philosophy major that smoked a lot of weed.
Checks out.
It was a good time.
Yeah, I bet you didn't ever join in.
No, not once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never took part.
Never smoked the weed and never talked about philosophy for way too long. It was a good time. All right, so you just grew up fixing things. Does he have like a particular like memory of like, I don't know, when something clicked, like, or what was broken the first time you broke your dirt bike?
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest. Oh, it was any list of things. But when you start to, you're not any good at fixing anything.
Sure.
Like, nobody is. Like, it's a skill you learn, right?
Yeah, it actually kind of feels like a dark art to someone who doesn't know how to fix things like you do. It feels like black magic.
Yeah, there's a little bit of voodoo going on there, 100%. Well, some days, especially working at North-Wright, we come up and we're like, oh, and it's like perfectly fine. Like you'll get like the look from the pilots, like, what did you just do? Actually, it was funny. This was years ago. I had the old green van. I imagine you heard of it because I drove it for quite a few years.
Okay. Was it like a passenger van?
Yeah, it was an 80s Chev Vandura.
Okay.
Is what it was. It was like, there was no windows inside. There was windows in the back doors. And
so
that was
green?
It. Green. Yeah.
At least that's like signifies a little bit of safety. Like if it was a white van, it starts to get a little...
It gets creepy.
Yeah.
At that point. But I remember I was coming out of work for something, and there was one of the pilots, he was standing out in the smoking pit.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out and turned the key and nothing happened. The start solenoid just gave up to go. So it just wasn't doing its thing. And I was like, oh man. So I pulled out this chunk of wire just like out from beside me and took my knife out of my pocket, stripped the ends off it, turned the key on, had it parked. I walked out and he's looking at me like I have 6 heads, right? I just kind of gave him a look like, that's fine. Rolled underneath it, stuck the wire up there and like jumped the terminal so the starter would engage.
Yeah.
And it cranked over and fired right up. And I just kind of rolled back out the other side. I was walking by and I threw the wire at him. He was sitting there with his hands out like, what did you just do?
Teach me.
Yeah. Like trying to brush all the dirt off myself.
My roommate had a car in university where something was wrong with the starter, so we had to bash it with like a crowbar every time to make it start.
And just go hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And it would fire up.
Yeah, an old Ford, I bet.
Yeah, it was. It was a 4Runner. No, it was a Toyota 4Runner.
Oh, Toyota.
Yeah. It might have a Ford starter in it.
I have no idea.
Okay, so what? Did your dad farm growing up?
No, he had a few, like, he did own a farm for a while there when I was really young, but he rented it out, basically. So you just rent the fields out, and there was a couple farmhouses he rented out as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was actually my aunt and my 2 cousins lived next door, and they rented off my dad for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your family's all pretty localized and...
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Oh, it's spread out since?
Yeah, since then they're... my sister actually lives out in Cape Breton now.
Oh, okay.
That's where my grandmother's from. My mother grew up, and obviously all her sisters. So they have since all ended up back out there. Even all my cousins.
Okay.
They all born, raised in Ontario. They're all out on the East Coast now.
What was it? Just a familial draw, or was it like an economic thing?
I think it was kind of an economic thing. So it is a lot cheaper. Like if you sell a house in Ontario, you can go buy a nicer house.
Yeah, and then live for 40 years.
And live for 40 years, and not have too much to worry about.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there was that, and like that was kind of the pull. But they're my age too, right?
Totally.
Like my cousins are.
Yeah.
And they all moved out there. They love it.
I've never been out east. I feel like I've heard it's gorgeous.
I'm not sure what the draw is.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think it's the accents.
Yeah, probably. It might have something about it, eh? Once you start mumbling your words together a little bit, you just get right into it.
Sometimes I've never encountered like Newfie accents like I have up here, and there are times when I totally don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. There was a while there was more Newfies at work in the hangar than there was anything else. So everybody was just straight up Newfie all the time, and I shouldn't say it as like Newfie, but It's what it is. It's a language of its own. It's English, but it's like a really weird dialect of it. So it's like if you take anybody learning English and you put them in Newfoundland and they start speaking Newfoundlandese or start speaking English in Newfoundland, they're gonna have that accent, right?
For sure. I don't know how you can avoid it.
Oh, it's like anything. Like you're always gonna adapt to your environment in that way, right?
Speaking of adapting to your environment, so you move up here, and it's day one. And what are your thoughts? You get off Did you come up on North-Wright? Or did you come up on the jet?
I came up on North-Wright.
Okay. Yeah. You're like, shit, I'm going to have to fix these planes.
No, I got in. Everybody was super nice. The guys like loaded me in the back of this like broke down old Jeep. I was like, oh, you're like, this is great.
This is the place for me.
Yeah. Like, got to survive this. We'll get through it. It'll be fine.
I'll be home in a month.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, we got into camp, and camp since then, it was falling apart when I got there. Like, it was rough.
It's been revitalized since then.
Oh, 100 times over.
Yeah.
Like, I'd move back into camp now. Like, it's so nice. It's so nice there, right? It was a different mentality then too, right?
It's a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago, but a lot's changed in the last 10 years, I find.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know, it was an experience for sure, to say the least.
Well, don't say the least. Say the most.
Say the most.
What was it like?
I don't think I should say the most, to be honest.
Was Warren still the owner?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warren was the owner.
Very
for sure.
cool.
Yeah, I got to watch that whole changeover. It was definitely different to see. Like, it was cool to see Warren at, probably shouldn't put this one on, but like the peak of his frustrations. Like, you used to be able to hear him start getting angry in his office upstairs.
Yeah.
And you'd hear him get spooling all the way down, and he would come down to the like maintenance department and he'd just yell. And like whoever was standing there just kind of got it, and we took it. It was whatever. Like, it was fine.
You
like,
didn't take it personally.
And yeah, nobody ever took it personally.
Yeah.
It was very much a like, he is really upset, and like you could see it in him. Like, he wasn't mad at you.
Yeah.
What he's yelling about is something the pilot did, like out in Good Hope, and you're like I wasn't there. I'm sorry.
He was just comfortable in the hangar, right? So you go blow off some steam there.
Yeah, you just gotta come and hang out. And but I feel like Warren always had like a draw to the maintenance side. I feel like he always had like a better connection with the guys that were fixing them, as opposed to the guys that were flying them.
And for anyone listening who knows, the crew at that time, who all was there, drop some names.
Wow. Raylan. I'm not going to say her last name. I can't remember.
That's okay.
Kerbrad or something. Yeah, cut that out. Sean Tozer, Jim Tozer.
Yeah.
Carl Carter. Troy had actually just started back.
Okay.
It was on, I think it's the second or third trip up. Second.
And was he working on the floor?
No, he came back to take over director of maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, and he'd only started maybe a month or two before me.
Fresh try.
Yeah, so he had just got back. I had just started.
Okay.
And I feel like there was a handful of other people kicking around on the floor, but
yeah,
it was one of those times that.
Was James here?
Yeah, James was here. Yeah, but it was one of those times that it was like you came up, and if you wanted anything extra, it was like, because
you could hire someone immediately.
You could just turn around, make a phone call, and you'd have another 4 people there.
Yeah.
So it was like you're always trying to mind your P's and Q's and do the best you could. And
sure.
That's all it was. It was a bit of a struggle. Sometimes you get yelled at, but
it wasn't personal.
It was never personal.
Like, yeah.
And it's all about improving people, right?
You're going slow.
Well, you got me talking.
And then how I'm interested, because like I came here and like integrated into like the community, and I understand what is like wonderful about this place.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like that was like a whole, like it was like 6 years before I showed up or something like that. And I'm interested in kind of like your journey into like becoming like somewhat like a fixture here. Because, you know, you show up and you have nothing. Like, you don't have a quad. You don't have any vehicles. Like, how many cars you got now?
I don't know if I want to go there.
That's the most vulnerable.
Oh, it's a lot, right? But, like, I will say, like, I come by it honestly. Like, my dad and granddad, they both have fleets of vehicles.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's more like immersing yourself in the lifestyle here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my first truck I bought up here, actually the first thing I got, I was helping put security cameras in the Heritage.
As like a side gig?
Yeah, it was the IT guy. What was his name now? I should know his name.
He's still around?
Yeah, he's over in Delhi.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, it was me.
Maybe someone will comment.
Jack Goulet.
Jack Goulet?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was doing IT for North-Wright at the time.
Okay.
He kind of like hired me on the side to come give him a hand, like running cable and stuff.
Sure.
At the Heritage.
Yeah.
And that's where I met Jim. And there was, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a handful of quads and stuff under the steps at the Heritage, like right when you walked up.
Yeah.
So I just, when we're done, I kind of asked him, like, hey, what's going on with those? And he was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I haven't run in a long time. So I asked if he'd sell one. I think he ended up giving me one just for
running cable
and
Perfect.
kind of coming and helping out. And I got it running. I drove it around for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then I bought, it was an old Ford Bronco.
Okay.
And
that's pretty fun.
I bought it for like a case of beer. And it was like, it was V8 4-wheel drive. Like,
yeah.
You know, it started. Well, didn't at the time, but
well, eventually it started.
I put enough work into it. I got it to run.
Can I get you one more?
Yeah, please.
Okay, Ford Bronco. It started.
It ran, not well.
Yeah,
but it ran. And I drove it around for quite a while, and then I think after you get a vehicle up here, and it's like people start to see you out in the yard, like rebuilding a carburetor. And
were you working on it at camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty public.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the camp yard, there's nothing there, right? Like it's you drive by, you see what's going on.
There's no trees.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of times like people would drive by and they would kind of stop and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And they'd come and chat you up for a little while, and they'd be like, "Oh, I got some parts for that, like out behind my house," and people would start dropping parts and stuff off, like, "Oh, I got a spare battery that."
Well, I think people like to see things get used, you know.
Yeah, like nobody wants to see something go to the dump and just rot away, right?
Yeah.
And like speaking for the community, like that's when you're coming from somewhere like Ontario, and then you have a bunch of people stopping in and like offering to help out or give you parts or like throw a pair of hand warmers or something at you because you look like you're frozen.
Yeah, take my gloves.
Yeah, and they know you just started season. It's not like you got like a big bank account that you're supplying yourself with heat out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they start seeing that vehicle drive around all the time, and then next thing you know, somebody's like, "Hey, I got an old truck sitting out behind my place. Like, you want it?" And they start giving you stuff, and then you kind of inquire about a few things, and then you buy them cheap, and everybody kind of like helps you get there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not something you just like show up and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that."
Unless you're Caden.
Oh yeah, Caden.
It's a different approach.
I'm gonna take all my dollars and I'm gonna put them in all of these things. That's good for him though. He has fun.
Oh yeah. No, I think honestly, it's the kind of thing you need to do up here to enjoy it. Like if you come up here and you don't find something to do, it can be boring.
Yeah. I felt like it's kind of funny you say that, like, because I get a lot of questions from like my friends down south because I had moved up to like a fly-in community.
Totally.
And to
like
that,
suddenly.
Yeah.
Like no
out of
warning.
nowhere. I was just like hanging out playing video games one day, and it was like the next week, like called me, like, oh, you want to hang out? Like, no, I can't. Like,
I'm in the north.
Yeah, and then explain where I am, and they're just beside themselves. They have no idea what to say. I forget where I was going with this.
We were talking about we were talking about like community being welcoming and people being confused about how I don't know where we were going either.
I don't know. I had a train of thought there. I lost it.
Wow. Fixing things in the yard, throwing you a pair of hand warmers. All right. Well, so you enjoyed the work. The plane fixing was good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's for me. Like some people have a passion for it, like fixing like aircraft in general.
Sure.
I never had that passion. I always had the passion of fixing things.
So it doesn't really have much to do with planes.
For me, no.
Yeah.
Like I've always enjoyed fixing anything. Like it could be a pedal bike, it could be
sure,
a tractor, or a bulldozer, or a pickup truck, or somebody's dirt bike breaks down. Like I'm into it. I'm excited. Like what happened? Like why doesn't it work
What's
anymore?
the story?
Yeah, what did you do? Right?
It was working.
Yeah, it worked perfectly fine 5 minutes ago. What did you do? Yeah, and then just kind of take that and then flip it over to fixing airplanes. It's mechanical knowledge is what it is, right?
Totally.
So I think that's where the good disconnect for me is, like, it's not that I'm real passionate about airplanes. I'm more so passionate about like keeping things running and making things work the way they should.
Totally.
Especially in an environment like this. Like,
oh yeah,
nothing, and I say nothing, wants to work at minus 45.
No.
Like that's the line. But we have our days, so we'll go out and we'll make it happen. But it's a struggle for sure.
Yeah, -40, -45 is like, really, actually though, nothing wants to work. Like your car hates it. Mm-hmm. Like nothing wants to move at -45.
Oh yeah. Like you go outside in the morning. I say go outside because like I've never had remote start on anything I ever own. Like that is a luxury,
and I never will.
Yeah, I would love it. I bought the.
I feel like you could buy one, don't you think?
Even, for sure. Yeah. But like, what's the fun in that, right? I bought this new car, like new to me, and it had the clicker for remote start.
Is that the Mazda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at it for 20 minutes and like it didn't work, and I was like, you know what? I don't need this.
It's not broken.
Yeah. Like I walk in, put the key in, it starts. It always starts, but I can't start it from the warmth of my house. So like I don't know, but I just never cared much.
Well, as someone who does have remote start, if it breaks, it's so annoying. Like,
but see, I don't want to get to that point.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think you should encourage. I'm encouraging you not to.
Some mornings though,
yeah,
it would be nice just to like,
here and there.
Yeah,
I feel like you need a remote start that's like way more janky. Like you've rigged it up and the key's already in the car and it turns it for you or something, So it's a separate fob.
Build a little robot.
Yeah, exactly. So what kept you around? Most people who come here with, from like not here are like, oh, I'll do a year or two. And that feels like a long time to start. And then at a certain point, something, what do you got on your mind?
It's funny you say it, like everybody's like, oh, a year or two. When I left originally to come up here, I was dead set. I was gonna do a year. I couldn't afford to fly out so I couldn't leave in a week. I need to at least stick around for a paycheck. Like, my heart broke when I found out you get paid once a month. I was like, oh my god, like how am I gonna do this? Like how am I gonna make it that far? And then you do a month, and then you do 2 months. It starts getting warm out. It's nice. The sun comes out. Like, wow, like I could see the town now. That's
what time of year did you get up here?
It's February. Early February.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Brutal.
Of the worst of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's a good time to get here because if you make it through, then it's like wow. Instead of getting here like in August when it's like so beautiful out.
I like wholeheartedly pity the people that get here in the fall.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that to yourself. Like, please, no.
I'm sure if you look at like data, if we had data about that, way more people would leave.
Oh,
like you have like,
hands down.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, you have the people that show up in the spring, and they absolutely love it in the summertime, and then it gets cold in the winter, and they're like, no, and they're gone.
Sure.
But
that's probably even more of a since you've had longer to like it, then it gets cold and then you leave, as opposed to like August, you're kind of expecting winter a little bit.
Yeah. You're dreading it. You're just like you're like looking around the corner. You're like, I don't know if I want anything to do with that.
So was it a pretty consistent crew for a while, like when you showed up, or was turnover like pretty like continuous still?
There was like a key group that were pretty steady there.
Yeah.
Obviously, like with any changeover, there is going to be like management wise, because Troy was taking over director of maintenance.
And was Sperl here when you showed up?
No, he showed up after.
Gotcha.
It was with any changeover of management, you're always going to have a little bit of, a little
change of the guard,
kickback, and some people aren't going to be comfortable with it, and they're going to leave, and some people are just going to push too hard, and it's just be like, you know what, like, not worth the time. And this is also at a time where like you made a phone call and 4 or 5 people showed up.
Yeah.
Like we were disposable at that time.
Sure.
Not so much anymore, but at the time we were, right? So once again, I forget where we were going.
We were talking about who was here and a consistent crew and turnover.
But yeah, like the turnover, because when I got here, it was changing management. Like Troy was taking over DOM. There was a handful of people that left, and then you'd get new people in, and some of them would stay and some of them would leave, and it was a lot of back and forth. But I've come to notice, like, it hasn't been like there's always been that turnover.
Yeah.
If they get a whole bunch of people in, say a month, say you get 6 guys in a month.
Yeah.
By 4 months down the road, you might have 2.
Yeah.
Right.
That stick around for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a year down the road, out of those 6, you're lucky if you have 1.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get lucky and you like the right guy comes up and
you have 1 for 10 years.
You have 1 10 years. Yeah. I fell for that trap. That was me. Yeah, I definitely fell for it.
There's a few of you. Yeah. So was what was James like back in the day? Like, I feel like, how long had he been here? Because he came from like the middle of.
Oh, he hadn't been here long. Because he came up, he went to Inuvik for.
Oh, that's right.
Quite a while, because he hadn't done any school or anything. So he was up there with his dad, because his dad worked at Inuvik.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
And I feel like he'd only been down in Norman Wells for a few months. I think he's been around for a year longer than I have.
Okay.
Around there.
Cool.
A year and a bit. But yeah, that poor guy just comes from Belize and gets thrown into a winter. Like, the first time he'd ever seen snow was in Inuvik. And he's still here. Like,
yeah. No, that's sick.
What a way to learn.
So when did you start adventuring, like quad trips? And is it that first summer, like right off the bat?
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah.
Well, you get I say a handful of guys,
and that was already happening. Obviously, like people were doing that. Yeah.
It was like getting out and adventuring is something like everybody does up here. So
yeah, it's like the thing to do.
You just kind of get joined into the group. Like, you don't have a say in it.
Yeah, you remember what your first trip was?
Oh, I have no idea.
No.
To be honest. Once you go on enough of them, they all start to blend together.
Yeah.
And like you remember the key parts of each one.
I feel like, but it's different. I feel like when you're with mechanics, sometimes you go out to break down, You know, like that's kind of the fun of it.
No. We don't go out to break down at all. We go out to like test our new machine and then in turn break it because we bought it cheap and we fixed it and we didn't fix it quite well enough. That's the turnaround of that one. So that's fun, right?
It's so fun.
Yeah,
it's the best. Do you have a favorite trip? Favorite like outing? You know, there's like the classics, sinkhole.
Oh, like location one?
Yeah. Or a particular adventure. Yeah, what stands out in your mind? I'm sure there's one that just immediately comes to mind.
There's so many. Honestly, they're all good for different reasons.
Yeah.
So, wintertime, 25.
Yeah.
100%. Best trip.
It's such a good trip.
Yeah. There's a beautiful cabin out there.
Yeah.
And it's relatively easy to get to.
Did you have a skidoo right from the beginning?
Oh, no. I hated snowmobiles when I got here.
Why did you hold out for so long?
I held out for like 8 years. I was like, no, I don't want anything to do with those. Like, they suck.
So, like, everyone would go on skidoo trips in the winter, and you would just not.
I would hide in the shop, and I would turn the heat on, like, get the wood stove going, and I would hang out and work on stuff.
Honestly, it's pretty good.
Yeah. They would go out on their beautiful snowmobile trips and
go
suffer, and like they would come back covered in ice, like head to toe, like beards just glistening, and like they're shaking, like
totally.
Obviously not.
Well, and you had the wood stove going, so they would come back to you.
Yeah, and they'd come in. It's okay. Like, come into this warm little oasis of greatness that I never left because, like, I'm smarter than that, right?
But and then they got around to you. Like, you got to try it.
Actually, it was I had bought a snowmobile off
Dave?
No, it was Rob Claus.
Okay.
I bought a snowmobile off Rob Claus, and I had it out for maybe 2 rides, and I was so cold. I didn't want anything to do with it.
You just weren't dressed properly.
I know that now. Like at the time, I was like, no. Why does anybody do this? This is ridiculous. It's the most outlandish thing anybody could ever do.
So you sold it?
I lent it out, and I lent it to a buddy, and they blew it up on the other side of the river, towed it back, and it was blown up. And I was like, well,
now I like this thing.
Now it's over. Like, now, you know what? I don't want a snowmobile, so I'm not even going to waste my time fixing it. And I ended up selling it to Chris, the blown up one. But I had it for like a couple of years. It had just been sitting around blown up. I just didn't care to fix it. I didn't want anything to do with it.
Was that the Scandic?
Yeah.
Okay, I know the machine. That's awesome. I actually do love how the machines just circulate up here.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah. There's something about it. You know the lifetime of the machine, and like you kind of know what it's been through, and it's like, oh yeah, that person owned it before you did.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd buy that.
Yeah. You don't know what we've done to it.
That has been on the no maintenance plan for way too long.
Yeah.
You might want to think twice about that one. But it's funny, like you get machines, like especially snowmobiles, like it'll go from somebody that really like they're always taking care of it, and like they're greasing it, like anything's wore out, they're changing the parts and keeping up with it because they don't want to break down anywhere. And then you get a really nice machine at the end of it, and then you watch that machine go to somebody that never pops the hood. Like, they put gas and oil in it, and if it doesn't start, they're like, oh well. And then it goes on the no maintenance plan for a year or two, and then I feel like
gas and oil is pretty good for the no maintenance plan. At least oil is.
It's because everything you have is on the no maintenance plan.
I was afraid you would say that.
I've seen your snowmobile.
I don't have one anymore. I sold it. Okay. That one's not fair.
Perfect example. Like you had to hand it over to somebody that was gonna take the time. To work.
You're right.
And fix it up. And make it nice again.
It's true.
See, it'll come full circle. You end up buying the same.
I am not buying that.
You could buy it again, and after it's all fixed up. And
I remember when he bought it for me, he was like, "Just so you know, I'm gonna fix it and sell it. You cool with that?" I was like, yeah, you're buying it. Like, just take it away from my yard. I don't want it. I think I in my own defense, I think I'm a little bit above the no maintenance plan.
When's the last time you did an oil change on your quad?
In the fall. right before. So I haven't driven it all winter. I've driven it for like 2 months. I'm about to do not month. I'll probably do another one.
That's actually surprising. Good for you.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing I can do. And I change the oil filter every time.
Wow.
See, I'm like if a B is a passing grade, I'm like a B minus. No, B plus.
Barely. Well, I guess you did learn from your snowmobile.
Yeah, but I bought that thing and it was like already on the no maintenance plan. I was a second no maintenance plan.
No,
For
that's where it falls apart.
And I made it out to 25 with that thing once, and the lights weren't working because the voltage regulator was broken. I knew what was wrong with it. I just had no idea how to fix it. And I ended up taking a Milwaukee like hand light, and I taped it to the front, and I had like 4 batteries with me. So I just clicked the batteries in and go, and that light was like this big. It was teeny tiny.
So you couldn't see anything.
I could see a surprising amount, but then I drove a Skidoo later that actually had headlights, and I couldn't see anything. But I liked having an independent system, you know? Like, I knew the light would work even if the sled broke down.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
If you shut it off and you want to go for a walk, you can take your light with you.
I'd have to cut all the tape off, and then it would never go back on because it was like minus 35, but...
The option was there if you wanted to bring it for your walk home, I guess.
One of my favorite times that we hung out, we were in your yard and you told me to point at a car, and then you went and turned it on, and then then I came out and you told me to point at another car while that one was idling, and by the end we had like 13 cars running. I don't know how many cars were running, but it was a lot. Yeah. And honestly, it was pretty impressive. A lot of them looked like they didn't run in your defense. What do you have a favorite car that you own? Not like a hypothetical favorite car. That's boring.
That I own.
Yeah, that you own.
My Blazer for sure.
The Blazer.
Yeah.
What's the story there? Where'd you get that?
I don't remember where that one came from.
You don't know where your favorite car came from?
No, I bought it for. I think I bought it for a case of beer.
How many cars did you buy for a case of beer? Like
2.
Just 2?
Actually, yeah, 2. Actually, no, it might have been a case of beer and a bottle of vodka.
Ooh, that one's worth more.
Yeah, that one goes a long way.
But was it running?
No.
Oh.
Ish.
Okay.
I'd seen it run once.
Not like it is now.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's got a couple years through the Mudbog. It's on a few different engines now.
Is it about engine and Mudbog? Is that how that works? At least with the Blazer?
Yeah, they get recycled though.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you pop one, you just kind of take it out and rebuild it slowly. And like I have my spare engine ready for after this movie. Yeah, they decided they're doing it on the 2nd.
I can't wait.
And I'm
of August?
Yeah.
2nd of August? Yeah.
I think is what it was.
I can't wait. It's going to be so fun.
I'm ready. I'm like,
I've only heard stories of Mudbog. I've never seen a Mudbog.
It's a riot. Like,
how does it work? Is it a time trial?
Yeah, it's a time trial, like through a mud hole.
But you only have one guy racing at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we like.
It would get really out of hand.
It would get so out of hand. And the mud hole's not that big, right? Like,
sure,
you don't have enough room to.
Well, isn't the mud hole like an actual puddle right now?
Yeah, it is.
You think it'll be dried up by then?
I don't know. Well, even if it is, like they always, like they'll find a puddle somewhere else and pump water to it and make it wet.
Oh, you can make a mud bog.
Yeah,
I didn't consider that.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you can make anything. Put your mind to
it. Anything Okay, and so when did you do your first mud bog? And it wasn't with the Blazer.
It was with the Blazer.
So you bought the Blazer for the mud bog?
No, I had already had it, and it was fixed up, and I was driving it, and then the mud bog started.
So you're like mud bog original.
Yeah, I was at the first one.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
How many cars competed?
I think it was only 3 or 4 of us at the time.
Okay.
It wasn't a whole lot, but it was funny. Like you kind of you get to learn like that part of the community too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So like one of the guys I'd never met was Pascal until the Mudbog, and he had it was a jacked up F-150, and he got it like ready to go for the mud.
Case of beer, 2 bottles of vodka.
Yeah, it was a bit nicer than mine. He put a little bit more work into his, like for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just show up, put your foot to the floor and hold it to it, shift gears and see what happened, right? And when that first mud bog started, I had popped a rod, like bent a rod, doing like warm up laps through the mud bog. I hadn't even qualified at that point, like, or I haven't even like done any of the time trial. Mm-hmm. And I showed up.
You don't need to qualify. Anyway.
Yeah, everybody.
You can just
join. If you show up, you're there, right?
Is it cars only? No quads?
They've opened it up to quads.
They've opened it up to quads.
Yeah, but at first it was, bring your truck.
Yeah.
And there was a couple people that showed up with quads and kind of like,
well, you can monkey around.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But the big race at for the mud bog was trucks.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of showed up and did a couple laps through it. I was like one of the second people there, so you're gonna ride through it.
Sure, of course.
Check it out.
Yeah,
right?
Get the advantage.
Get the mud stirred up a little
bit. Early
bit.
bird advantage.
Yeah. And I come out of the hole, and I held the throttle down a little bit too long, I think, and there was something knocking real bad, and it was sitting there at idle, like.
And you haven't even done the trial yet.
I hadn't even done the time trial yet. So at this point, like, hands up, I was like, if I'm going to blow it up, I'm going to blow it up right. Like, I'm just going to hold it to the floor, the whole mud bog. And I did. I got in, I put it to the floor at the start line, they waved me off, and I just went through gears.
So I don't understand how you shift gears with your foot on the floor.
Oh, you just kind of clutch it in and out every now and again.
But you don't have to let off the gas when you shift gears?
Well, you're supposed to.
That's why it's an engine of mud bog.
Yeah, it just whined right out. That engine survived. I ended up rebuilding it.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was the third engine.
So you pulled out the rod that was clanking. You found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't end up being a rod. It was a rod bearing.
Okay.
Yeah, pop. So the rods and everything were fine. I just put new bearings in it.
Rods were back in.
Yeah, new bearings, resealed it, gave it a home.
And then, so next mud bog, you blew it up again?
It had a different engine in it for the next mud bog, I think.
Better engine?
No, it was one from the dump. It was the same fate, but yeah, and then I just kind of rotated through them.
So one thing that's always fascinated me about what you guys do is when you go to the dump and you fix a car there, and then you take it home.
Yeah.
Is that the plan when you go to the dump?
No, it never is. It was different back then.
Sure.
Because the dump never had hours.
No, I got it.
Kind of
well, like you could still do it now, but you just have to go plan when you're doing it.
Or we'd go after work and like we'd just be hanging out, like
go look for some
have
parts.
A beer or two.
Sure.
Somebody's like, "Oh, I need this or that for my truck." And you'd go up there and a new truck had been pulled up, and one person out of the group is always like, "I want that. Like that'll run." It doesn't have an engine in it. Like it won't run. Sure enough, there's one sitting 3 cars over. So you're pulling engines around, and you get like 4 guys. You pick them up and kind of carry them through and put them in the other one. And
but you bring a toolbox with you and stuff. Like you have.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you're just
any seasoned dump rummager brings a toolbox.
Obviously.
As someone who's never brought a toolbox up to the dump.
Well, it was at the time like everybody just went up there to hang out and see what was going on, right?
Totally. So what was the most like impressive drive back? Like any car that you like, do you have a story of like the most shocking one that you fixed up there?
It's probably one Ryan drove out. It was winter, obviously.
Oh,
because you don't do it in the summer.
Oh God, I never even thought of you fixing cars up there in the winter. That sounds terrible.
And
it wasn't like February though. Maybe November.
No, it was the end of the winter.
Oh, okay. It's warm.
Yeah, but I remember the snowbank. You couldn't see the truck line up from the drive-through.
Okay.
Because the snowbank was that high.
Yeah.
And his truck was in the middle. And so we had to get in there. He got it running. And made sure the gears worked, like forward, back, sitting there stuck because it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a bunch of farm jacks and come-alongs and shifted it over and dug out this highway. I call it a highway. It was far from a highway. It was a trail. It was a walking path. So we dug out this walking path.
Highway.
And there was
like the 407.
There was like a, what do you call them? Like the camper.
Like an RV?
No. Like the tow up living quarters.
Oh,
like a camp.
Yeah. Camper trailer.
No, like
tow up living quarters.
Yeah, like on skids.
Atco.
Yeah. Okay, so there was like an Atco at the end of this road, and he ended up having to drive the truck through the wall of the Atco to get it pulled up because there was another dump truck box there and a transport truck kind of sitting too close.
The Atco wall is easier to drive through than the dump truck box. Yeah, for sure.
We measured it out, but like to get the truck turned, he had to put the truck, like the front end of the truck, in the Atco, and then we had to like jack all the back end of the.
I guess the nice thing about that is you don't really have anything invested in this truck other than a little bit of time.
Oh, it was free. Like, it was somebody else's garbage at that point, right?
Have you ever fixed it? Oh wait, go on with the story.
But yeah, we ended up getting it down, and he drove it around. He drove it around for a few months like that.
Like that, just right out of the dump.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, he'd found tires on a truck farther down the pile and brought them over, and jacked it up, put tires on it, and drove it out, and got it kind of wiggled out, and like we had to shovel a snowbank out of the way. That was
probably the hardest part.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like have you fixed the truck in the dump and then driven it around and then someone claimed it was their truck? Like once it was ready.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. But like nobody in the community is ever going to be like, that's my truck, give it back. Oh, they're like, I can't believe you got that thing running again, right? Like when I parked that. And like they go into like this elaborate story, like what happened to it or like where that truck has been. They're always great stories.
Totally.
So like there's always a little bit of history when you're pulling stuff out of the dump like that. Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, oh, my brother had that truck and we did X, Y, Z, or you
get the Carfax. You get the community Carfax.
Community Carfax of the truck. My van, I drove for like 5-6 years up here. I drove it out of the dump.
Oh yeah, the green one.
The green one, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I went up. I was looking for an engine for my Blazer, and it had a small block 350.
Well, it also had an engine for your Blazer.
Yeah. Like, so I was like, well, I'm not going to take a bad engine home.
Sure.
Like I'm not going to do all the work pulling it. So I got it running up there.
Yeah.
And I put it in gear and it drove, and there was no wheels or anything on it. It was sitting there on blocks. Looked underneath.
But the wheels are spinning.
Yeah, like the drums were spinning, and I was like, well, that's like. I bring my engine home with it.
Totally.
And I'll just tow it back when I'm done. Like, it'd be so easy. There's a truck right there with wheels on it that'll bolt up. So I took the wheels off that, put them on the van, drove the van home. And then I remember I come around the corner, like the first corner coming down the dump road, fell in love with the van instantly. I was like, this thing is never amazing. I'm like, but I never drove one where you're actually you're sitting up nice and proper, and you can see right in front of you, and it was
fair.
Yeah, and when you turn, like you kind of like do like a side skirt.
So what
like you're sitting right on the front wheel.
I haven't seen this car.
Well,
is it a sad story?
Yeah, it broke down. It was a
while.
But
for real.
Yeah, it broke down for real. Yeah, the rings got all wore out, and like it barely ran. And then one day it lit itself on fire trying to start it, and like the flames licked the windshield. And I was just like, you know what? It's time you go back. So I brought it back up to the dump.
But you got a couple years out of it.
Yeah, I got 5 years out of it.
So do you recommend that 5 years out of it? Do you recommend that when someone's like, oh, I gotta go get a car, do you say go check the dump?
Oh, 100%.
I feel like it's a lost art, you know? Like, I feel like it's such a... There's something magical about that. I love that so much.
It's an acquired taste,
for sure. Acquired taste. Well, fair. But it's also like you need the skills to do it. Not anyone can do it. It's like...
Yeah, but it's fun, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a pastime.
Oh, for me, it's fun.
Well, for you and other people. There's other people who think it's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like on my bucket list is be there when a car from the dump is started.
Oh, really?
A little bit. So I'm gonna hold you to that. We gotta go get a car at some point.
There's one up there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Are we going tonight?
No, these things take time. And the dump's closed.
Yeah, fair. True.
Yeah. Actually, Caden needs the engine out of it, though.
Well, what easier way to get it back than to drive it there?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have a starter on it. I stole it last week from another truck. But, like, it's pretty close.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a starter lying around somewhere that would work.
Yeah, the one off fit.
I know it fits.
I would have to take it off my other truck. But, yeah.
You could drive. No, then you sell a truck in the dump. Never mind. Scratch that. We'll need a different starter. That one's been pillaged already.
Yeah, drive up there, take the starter out of your truck, put it in the other one. There's a different problem with it. Won't start. You're like, no. Like, my plan is foiled.
So, if you had to like summarize it, like, what is it that you love about Norman Wells? Like, if someone was like, why do you love it up there? How would you answer them?
That's not one thing, for sure.
Give me more than one.
It's miserable. It's depressing. It's dark. It's a place where you have no choice but to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody here does that struggle and overcomes it. We all understand it. So when we see somebody else struggling, there's like the sense of community is always there to be, right beside you. And nobody's going to sit there and watch anybody fail, like, to an extent. Like, we're going to watch you get your quad stuck. Like, you're going to fail, but we're going to help you get out.
Yeah, we'll help you succeed too.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, that's the beauty of it. Like, some of the best sights I've ever seen is up here. I used to smoke. I quit 2 months ago. So I was always outside. We would, like, at parties and stuff, I'd be going out, like, midnight or something. I'd go out for a smoke. The amount of times I've walked outside and the northern lights have been, like lighting the sky up, and had to turn around, like, before I even lit my smoke, be like, hey guys, like, come check this out. And half the party comes out and they're like, wow, like, good call. Like, you don't get that anywhere else. Like, yeah, sure, it's terribly cold. Like, you don't want anything to do with being outside, but you could take a whole house full of people that all have that same feeling. They don't want anything to do with being outside, and you give them the northern lights, and every one of them lines up coming out the door, and they'll stand out there for 20 minutes, half hour
in t-shirts.
Yeah, t-shirts, sweaters. Like, some of them smart enough to put their coats on the way out the door, but there's always that toss up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I like I actually really like the description of you start off with miserable, depressing, whatever,
mm-hmm.
but how you are forced to struggle is true. And I think that, I don't know, I think life's too easy sometimes for people.
Yeah, it's the rugged beauty that makes it beautiful.
Yeah. Well, because you can't see it without enduring it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, you have to struggle to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And especially, like, I know we spoke on it earlier, but the guys that come up in the wintertime and they're gone. Yeah. They're not here long enough to see the beauty.
Or struggle enough.
Or struggle. And the guys that come up in the summertime and they enjoy the summer, but they leave in the wintertime.
No struggle either.
There's no struggle.
The summer's so good because the winter's so hard.
Yeah, like, the bugs are pretty tough and stuff like that. I guess you can make the argument for it, but...
Sure. The bugs aren't that bad.
Dig in here. I'm trying to come up with something bad in the summer, but...
It's not bad, but the constant light, I think, can be more taxing than the constant darkness.
Yeah, if you can't figure out how to block your windows just the right way and get in your room so where your body's like, okay, I can sleep now.
Yeah.
At an early enough hour, like, you will go kind of sleep deprived in the summer. Like,
oh, kind of. Dude, my first summer up here, I've never stayed up till 4 a.m. more than any other time in my life.
I'm trying to be modest.
That was so brutal. I was like, I don't know if I can live here. Like, actually, though, I was like, literally, Dave, to this day, I show up at a party and he'll be like, guess we're up till 4 a.m. Like,
well, it's funny. Like, in summertime, you don't get tired.
Well, and there's not a cue for me to go to bed. It's just that I would get engaged in conversation, and it was like so fun, and I was having such a good time, and then all of a sudden it was like dusky. It was like
what happened
4 in the morning. It still wasn't dark. Yeah.
Actually, it's hilarious. Like my parents religiously like bed 10, 11.
Did they come visit?
Midnight at the latest. They came to visit my first summer up here. We had a river fire, like just on the side of the river.
Yeah.
And those parties go till 3, 4 in the morning.
Well, yeah. There's even less reason to go home there.
Yeah, like it's a beautiful scenery.
There's no bugs.
No bugs.
Yeah.
Like it's not too hot because you're down by the river.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like there's hot dogs, like lots of drinks flowing around. They were out till 2 in the morning.
Never seen them up that late.
Never seen them out that late. And like I'll never forget, like they came up. They're like, "Hey, like I'm not sure what's going on, but like I think it's bedtime." And like Dad's like looking at his watch, like, "Yeah, like is this right? Like the time, I know the time changed, but like what's going on here?" I was like, "No, we changed your watch when you got here. That's real." And he's like, "No." Like it's 2 in the morning, and immediately they're like, "Yeah, we're going to bed." I was like, "Good luck with that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the way over there.
Yeah.
That's sick. That's
Awesome. I remember I took them to wing night,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my sunglasses on the back of my neck, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like we'll go to wing night. We won't need them. Like it's fine. Like it's in the bar." We went in and had wings and everything. We were there till 11 o'clock or something. They'd figured out my tricks by then.
Yeah.
And we came out, and I was like, "All right, yeah, like I'll take you home." We came out, and I put my sunglasses on before we were walking out the bar because it's dark in there. And
Oh yeah, but
when
they
you
don't
come
realize that the sun's yeah
right there,
right
there when you walk out. Yeah, and they walked out and they're like, "Oh, I can't see," and I'm sitting there like, "Gotcha."
Yep, it's pretty good. So you guys got some hard work coming up. You got float day in like 2 days.
Yeah, float day's Thursday. Yeah,
And
2 days.
more an extra twin.
Yeah, we decided to break it up a little bit this year. So
Okay.
we're gonna do twin porter Thursday,
Uh-huh.
and then do the other twin Friday.
The new twin on Friday. No, not RDD, but
RDD.
yeah, the twin you haven't done before.
It's actually the old twin.
For sure, but it's not the
OG.
one that you typically put on floats.
No, it hasn't been on floats for a while.
Yeah. Cool. You excited? I feel like all the new guys are excited about float day.
Yeah, they're all super amped. They've never gone through it before either. Right?
Well, you got to struggle to see the beauty, right?
It's one of those things. Actually, we were supposed to do it today, but
That's right. Yeah.
it was like pouring rain all morning. And
I'm so glad you guys rescheduled. I was like, this is gonna suck.
yeah, well, it was gusting like 30, 40, like pouring rain, and like we knew that, and I was like, I think we should change this. Let's just move this down a little bit.
Yeah, it's good.
And everybody was like, yeah, that's a way better idea. Like,
Way better
why
idea.
Why are we trying to do this?
Well, I'm psyched. I don't have to like actually, put the planes on floats, but I'll be around. It'll be a good time.
Well, at least it'll be nice when you're out there.
Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous. It's gonna be like some of the warmest days we've had this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Taylor. That was a blast.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.